Hey, welcome back to The Dive. Today on the show, we're chatting with Arthur Halleran. He's going to talk to us a bit about OPEC cutting oil production, Canada capping emissions in the oil and gas sector, green energy, what's happening with Nord Stream, and he will also give us an update on Trillion Energy and what to look out for with the company next. But before we bring Arthur on, do me one quick favor and just go ahead and smash on that subscribe button, please. Hey, Arthur, welcome to The Dive.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me here.
Okay, so let's dive right into it. OPEC announced that they will cut oil production by 2 million barrels a day. Do you think that this announcement will have a significant impact on the market?
Well, if they cut the they cut the amount of production because the other governments wanted to put a cap on the oil, it will just cause them to be more scarcity of that commodity, and it will raise the price. And also part of our gas price in Turkey is part of the formula actually is based on the price of oil. So it'll just cause the prices to increase.
Prime Minister Justin Trudeau stated Canada will cap emissions of the oil and gas sector. How big of an issue do you think that these policies have on driving investment into the sector?
It's hard to say because Canada goes back and forth. And I think the really important thing, again, like for my company, we're in Turkey and we're kind of independent of what's happening in Canada. We're more in the European market where there's a real tight crunch. We find that we're having more and more Canadians actually investing in places like Turkey. They feel more comfortable now. And I would say over probably 60 to 70% of our shareholders and investors are from Canada.
So energy return on investment, it's used to compare different energy sources for profitability. Could you share your thoughts on why this is an important metric? And why do you think that this is rarely discussed with renewables?
So if you're talking about wind energy and solar energy and stuff like that, a lot of that has a very high price environment. And we're in a high price environment for natural gas too. The only issue with the green energy is that you only get solar energy when it's the sun is shining. You only get wind energy when the wind is blowing. So you get peak production, and the main cost for this is actually where they're storing that energy, and it has to be in batteries or something else. Whereas with natural gas, you don't have to. And using natural gas right now to generate electricity, of course, per kilowatt is quite expensive at this time, and green energy is looking to fill that part. But a lot of the places of the world do not have access to green energy, and the same with Turkey. It has a large distribution system for the natural gas, and again, it's not going to affect us in Turkey.
How do you see the energy market shifting right now?
I've been doing this for 42 years. And the fact is that we're never going to be able to give up hydrocarbons. Maybe in some of the places, like in the city where you could plug a car in, but I've worked in many parts of the world, like Africa and the Philippines and so on, and you just can't do that. And they just found out now in Europe that the gas is shut off. They said, let's go put on the alternative green energy, and lo and behold, it's not there, and it's not going to be able to fill that gap. And so green energy is an important component, and in Europe and so on, they could probably increase it, but it's not going to happen for a while. And when you look at natural gas, again, that's a transitional fuel. And Europe right now said, okay, if you use that to generate electricity, that's a green fuel. But again, you're not going to be able to, in Conakry, Guinea, walk to your house with a can of electricity to use in your gas stove or to put in your car, right? So it's going to get there, but within my lifetime, it will still be oil and gas.
Okay, so let's move on and talk a little bit more about Trillion Energy. This week, Putin said that Russia could redirect Nord Stream gas supplies to the Black Sea. We know that one of your gas fields is in the same location, so we're wondering if this happens, will it have an impact on Trillion?
No, not at all, because our field is 12 kilometers, 18 kilometers offshore, And all the infrastructure and the pipelines and all the whole transportation system for us, we own 49%. It's under our control and the Turkish Petroleum Company's control. And same with the facility, we own that. And then the sales gas line for distribute throughout Turkey is right at the edge of our property. So any other pipeline they can play around with, it will never affect our production and our distribution.
So you announced that the company is midway through drilling its first new well at the SASB gas field. Could you give us an update, and do you have an estimate or a target timeline as to when you will start producing?
We've spudded that well, or started drilling that well, September 19th. We're down right now at about 2,500 meters. And this was the most challenging well, both in the distance, which is almost 2.8 kilometers, and the curvature and the trajectory. And with the having Schlumberger doing the work for us, and also we have assembled our own very good crew of directional drilling people. This trajectory, this well is on budget, is on track for the trajectory and so on, like we haven't moved off. And we should be TDing, getting to the total depth here in about 3 days, cement the 7-inch casing in it, and then perforate that. So next week, roughly, we'll be testing this well.
Now, the company also received a price increase for the sale of natural gas from its SASB gas field to over $30.68 per 1,000 cubic feet, a 47% increase over the prior month. In your view, how sustainable is this level of pricing?
This pricing will stay for the winter season for sure, right? So we're going to see this until probably spring, early summer. And so our new wells that will be coming on, we'll be getting this price, and we actually are getting a higher price. And so Turkey now has a two-price system, and we know roughly what the increase we're getting from the $31, but we want to be more accurate, and we're going to wait for our sales receipt and put that out. So we are right now above $31 an MCF.
Okay, now Nord Stream pipelines are currently non-operational due to explosions. And a gas field in the Netherlands owned by Exxon and Shell has reduced production to less than 2 billion cubic meters for 2023. How actively are you searching for new projects? Okay, so right now I got to stay focused on SASB because every dollar I put in there, I can get instant return within, a month or so. But we're going to be generating like a large amount of cash flow. And right now, because we have spudded our well, we have all this news release, people know we're fully funded. I get quite a few opportunities across my desk of other companies looking for partners or trying to sell the properties and so on, because we came out ready and they didn't. And so some of them are in distress. And so there's some good opportunities. So we are looking. But what I'll tell the investors, though, is that the purpose is stay focused on SASB to get the revenue. Okay, so one last thing before we let you go here, Arthur. Okay. For investors who are watching the story over the next 3 to 6 months, what are the things that they should be looking out for? Before, we were a small company that is trying to we're trying to raise the money. We had the asset, we're trying to drill. Well, now we're a company that is doing. We got the rig from Romania. It's on our platform. We have all the money we need. We have the 7 locations. We are drilling. Everything is turning well for the trajectory. So we actually are doing the project. We're going to be testing wells every 48 to 50 days in that order. There's going to be a lot of news release. We're going to be having increased revenue. So our shares should be going up. Okay, great. Well, sounds great. And thank you so much for joining us today, Arthur, and sharing your story with us. Yeah, okay, great. Thanks a lot for the chat. To our audience at home, thank you so much for tuning in today. We'll be back again tomorrow with the latest news and updates. So be sure to stay tuned by smashing on that subscribe button and hitting that notification bell before you leave. Bye.